fact, me hata si support Buju. Me niko hapa hivi, right? Buju spoke about Afrobeats. As an artist, me ongori nimeondokea. Me too, as according to Donidi, Buju was not talking to me. You know why? Because Afrobeats took this thing and they ran away with it. Specifically, wa Nigeria. Wa Nigeria walichukua kitu na wakakimbia nayo, and hao ndio wanaonekana like they lead the Africa, right?
Correct.
Africa has a lot of diverse genres. That's why Buju might be ignorant. He might not know about these genres. See, we can't blame him. Ajui, yeye anajua Afrobeats because hiyo ndio hawa Lamu wamechukua na wakai-explode huku. Hiyo ndio muziki ya Africa. So mimi kama Nonini as a Kenyan, I choose to step back, niachie conversation iendelee because I'm not defined as Afrobeats. Always you can't take away from Kenya. Kenya has dope musicians. Kenya has musicians who are very conscious, has musicians who are very commercial. The same thing Buju was saying. Unaweza sikiza muziki ya Tupac, kusikia ngoma when you ulikuwa kati ya dem, kuna ngoma kuna sikiza, kuna time ulikuwa feel struggle. Tupac has that timeline of emotions with his music. It's the same thing. And that's not reggae. It's just being an artist. Just being an artist, what you're supposed to do.
So I think the problem right now is because of the immediacy. So I think because as an artist pia unaangalia vile utakula na unajua
ni close your eyes, mnakumbuka hiyo shika time.
Unaona squeeze hakuna squeeze
shika you can music that can place you in a timeline.
Yes. Hiyo hakuna squeeze. Because you see right now I think artists anaangalia immediacy, they're not looking at 5 years or 10 years, and it's difficult with this environment that we live in where you can see who artist mwingine ameka twerk music na ikapata 10 million views.
But I was going to say, you know, the interesting thing is when you look at even the US, the athletes, when they come back, you know, the gold medalist or whatever, you know, and we've talked about this, how the American athlete is placed on a pedestal. Like it is, you can tell.
Even before they make the Olympics.
Before they make the Olympics. You're looking at, they are on Jimmy, they are on every news media. You name it.
Yep.
Late night commercials, like even at one point unacheki commercial unaona tu, you know, our gymnast girl, you know, Simone, you know, Noah, you know, like
ukenda New York unapata kwa mabillboard.
Sindio.
Yeah.
And that is just marketing, because now you're like, so whatever they sign with, whatever brand, whatever, because that's branding, and that is also making money for them.
Because even before they make it to the Olympics, these brands are already picking them up. They're already calling them.
Oh, already, of course.
Under Armour, Nike, Adidas, they're already calling them. They're already contacting them. So what about the time to wamefika Olympics? And then kumbuka what Douglas Wakihuri said on that NTV interview. So Douglas Wakihuri alisema, very interesting, alisema other countries, unaona Kenya vile watu wanaingia kampi Olympics at is 2-3 months to the Olympics. Anasema other countries, they start preparing 4 years. Sasa rahi Olympics imeisha.
The guys who have started training.
The potentials who are going to be in the next Olympics wameanza kutrain saizi, meaning akona coach, akona publicist, akona mtu akumwambia unakula hivi, unacheza hivi, hizi competition utakuwa unaenda na nini. They already have that before, well before hiyo Olympics ifike, before atafikia qualification. Na hizi madili wanapata, you know, like hata kina Shakari, you know, hata before ingi Olympics tayari walikuwa na madeal na kina Nike na nini, so they're already getting something, hata kama ni kitu ndogo, but it's something. At least you can afford to wake up every day, build your craft and go train. But sasa Kenya unaona, you have to have another side hustle.
Me niliacha kuwatch. I don't watch BT Awards. Ask me
why.
Because I got jealous
of
muskia tu kimnadho, sababu manze BT Awards inakuonyesha this a black folk celebrating themselves, celebrating each other. Inakuwa gani? Unaona wale artist wote wamemiss out hizo awards zingine prestigious. BT inakuwa gani sisi ni majeudi na tunajicelebrate. Mushi ndo mbona wa Afrika tufanyagi, mbona wa Kenya atujicelebrate? They just reserve a day in a year, every year, to celebrate themselves. Muona yo tunasikia uchungu, si uchungu ina bad way, mbona sisi atufanyagi?
Because
they celebrate themselves, and I love that. It's a beautiful thing. Musikia kimu na dhompa.
Yeah, Mika.
Wacha ni wakati na hapa before tutoke kwa hii topic, and this has always come back to one thing. and I've said it so many times. Do we understand the business? And at this point, I'll say the business of talent, like the business of creativeness, right? Kwa sababu hata vile Ali tukianza hii conversation earlier on and tukiongea story ya joka like modern industry ilikufa nini. There's some industries in Kenya whereby people look at them and they see as them as this are not even like blue collar industry is not a thing. And then even from blue collar industry, cottage industry in Kenya not a thing. Now we're bringing back to the creative points and aspect of it, whereby tuweke hapo ngoma, wasanii, tuweke wasanii, tuweke sports people, tuweke actors in that bucket. There is a talent for that, but there's no business for that talent. Most people haven't really put an there's no investment in the business side of it.
There's no industry.
And that is why unaona tukisema like tukiangalia na juu tuko na nini, wacha niitoe kwa sports nirudishe kwa ngoma. If we put it in music,
yeah,
that's why there was a time, and Nonini, correct me if I'm wrong,
yeah,
majority of Kenyan artists used to think when they're writing a song or producing a song, used to think more about what the corporates will think about the song, yeah, than what people will think about song, what the fans will think about song. In Ngoma, the corporates are like kama wasanii. People are more concerned about producing music that will give them corporate gigs,
yeah,
than producing music that you feel, producing music that you enjoy. And it got to a point whereby we lost the art of it, and I think that is where Nigerian music came in and managed to break in, because everybody now was trying to produce corporate music, and Kenyan music started sounding like it was a weird haikuwa inajulikana ni ngoma gani. And recently I think these kids came back with, yeah, I think these kids came back na Gengeton is when you have seen our music now trying to come back to something we used to know. Ile kina Nonini wakikam hiyo time kina Nonini wakikuja hiyo Vini Banton Nonini hiyo crew like kulikuwa na sound, unasikia sound unajua sound ya Kenya as much as ina like ilikuwa inakaa sound ya Kenya, inakaa sheng ngoma, inakaa unabla sheng kwa lugha mingi, lakini ina make sense. But kuna ile sound yenye ukisikia genge yenye kina Nonini walikuwa wanacheza, alafu ende kwa hizi kina Gengeton na Banton sahi, kuna ile una feel hii sound inakaa ngoma. Ukisikia ngoma ya Matata unashake kichwa ukijua okay fine, hii ngoma inakaa like kuna hii ngoma ina sound pia. Ngoma za Kenya ukisikia unajua ni ngoma ya Kenya. Now that has come back because wasanii wamerudi back to ngoma ikuwe ni Kenyana feel na Kenya watu wana feel, wametoka kwa hiyo ujinga ya corporate. Now what we need to do is, do we have the business to make this sustainable for these artists? So if there were ways in which the business environment to support creatives will be nurtured and will be allowed to play. And then most artists, at in the group here too, remember there's a conversation I was talking with somebody, nikimwambia, the first thing is, the only people who can make Kenyan music sell outside of Kenya is Kenyans. Jamaa kaniambia, yeah, you're ready, anachezanga out of Kenya, amecheza nini concert big, nikamza concert gani, akaniambia nyege. Remember I said, okay, sawa, nimeanza kwa jina yako, nikana jina igo yako. I'm not arguing about you going to Uganda. I'm just telling you a simple thing. If you guys want Kenyan music to transcend the borders, it's only Kenyans who can make Kenyan music transcend the borders.
Absolutely.
Because a white person will not look for Kenyan music. It's me who's going to expose a white person to Kenyan music.
Yeah. True.
It's simple as that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
And you
so
know, yeah.
Once that mentality, if you have an artist who can't understand a simple detail of things, thinking from a business point of view like that, how do you expect this artist, when it comes to elect, for people to represent them, to elect somebody who has who has his business at heart, or rather atajifikiria tu for the point of now, for the now? If I come and tell you, mimi royalties ndaongeza certain, nikuoneshe mimi naweza kusaidia kula better, utanivote, but hujui in the long term what my benefits are. So we have to figure out a way on from the government side and also the creative side, in a way whereby we say we want to make these industries to thrive. We want somebody like Nonini, the name Nonini, to employ 300 to 400 people at one particular time.
Yeah.
Right? If that is how we want, we need to be able to teach these 300 or 400 people how they can benefit from that name Nonini. Teach Nonini how he can be of benefit to those 300, 200 people, and allow an environment where these 300, 200 people can be able to support Nonini, and Nonini can be able to support them.
Okay, yeah. Now, as we wrap up this particular topic, there was one thing that Ted Josiah once told me. Unajua Ted Josiah has lived in different parts of the world. Kuna time alienda hata akaishi Nigeria. And when Ted Josiah went to Nigeria, one thing he told me that many years later is when I was like, damn, this is something Ted Josiah told me a number of years back. Alisema, in Nigeria, the Kenyan industry was already ahead, but in what Nigeria did is they poured money. You know, unajua kama vile in Kenya someone will pour money in real estate, and wanawacha mimi nichukue real estate, 10 years from now itajipa yenyewe. So that's what happened to the music industry. So you had these talented artists. So imagine kama vile nyinyi mlikuwa artists kule Calif. Imagine sasa kama mtu angekuja aseme mimi nawapatia 50 million. Nendeni mkatafute wasanii, tengezeni hii music, and then we'll figure out if we're gonna make money years down the line. Industry yetu ingekuwa mbali sana, but I think there's been a shyness to invest watu wote wenye wash nini, because let me tell you the reality. A lot of money that especially country kama Nigeria ingekuwa music industry, tuseme tu kweli, it's wash money. Some of it is wash money.
419.
Yeah, the same way wash goes and does real estate. I think they also need to be creative wanze kuingiza sasa in other segments like in the music industry na movie industry in Nigeria pia. It's the biggest employer. The movie industry, it is the biggest employer in Nigeria. It's employing more people than oil is employing, yet Nigeria is one of the biggest oil producers in Africa. So that right there tells you something. Now, tunataka kuja kwa hii interview controversial ya Buju Banton. Na sijui kama tuko na hiyo clip, kama hatuna ni sawa. I think kila mtu alikuwa amesikiza hii interview. Now, this interview here, okay. When a legend like Buju speaks, I think it's important to not only listen but also read between the lines. Aliongea vibaya, of course he did. The language he used was a bit excessive, because he said that Afrobeat, he trashed Afrobeat basically. And I think that was problematic. But for people who know Buju, that is Bujunese. That's how Buju speaks. He doesn't know, even in interviews, he doesn't know. He's not one of these people who will clean up.
Buju is raw.
Yeah,
he doesn't know how to hold it.
He's raw.
He speaks his mind.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Na hii kitu, because Afrobeat has become so big in Nigeria, in Africa, it touched people in so many different ways. The one problem that we are living in nowadays in this environment of flow of information, the problem is watu wengi pia wanaongejwa hiyo story hata hawajasikiza interview. Were there bad things that Buju said? Of course. He's trashed an industry that has been feeding a lot of Africans, and that's gone worldwide. So kutakuwa na issue. So mimi nini nitaka kuja kwako nisikie tu take yako, when you first had that interview at Drink Champs, alitaja Kenya kwanza. Buju mentioned Kenya, which shows you already where the high regard in which he places Kenya, and not only Buju but people in that entire industry, because even Nori alikuwa ametaja Kenya pia before Buju ataja Kenya. So Nonini, what was what's your assessment of what Buju said? Alicheza pabaya ama some people are saying he's jealous.
No chance.
Very controversial issue. Number one, kwanza controversy naangalia board yenyu. Kwa pile signature nilisign up like 2 years ago. Where's my signature?
I don't even know.
Molichoja signature yangu.
No body
na hiyo ndio controversy number 1. Molichoja. Na waingiza kwa
ini board mpya maika. Kuna watu wengi. Hiyo board nyingine iko.
Ile ni jaa.
Wamejitetea muda wamejitoa kwa hiyo ngori.
Mzee 500 episodes sio mchezo.
Only Jah can liberate the people over hills and valleys too. Buju ni legend. Artists wote wakitokea Florida back in the day walikuwa naimba, they all were trying to sing like Buju. Artist ule mimi aliingiza kwa studio, alikuwa aitwaga original MC. Alikuwa na rap kama Buju way back in the day. Mimi namuona Florida kibrap, I'm like damn. Kuna artist alikuwa aitwaga Kati Boy, rest in peace man, wakali alikuwa rap kama Buju. So Buju was inspired man a generation. Buju yuko sawa. Everything Buju said, hakuna ati some things, everything Buju said you on point. That's one. Second, everything everybody is talking like kuna Nigeria ameongea mona interview yake, what's his name?
Mimi nimeona interview ya Fuse ODG, but Fuse ni Nigeria man, ni Mghanaian.
Ni Mghanaian. Fuse yeah, yuko sawa.
Yeah.
Like Fuse is saying the right thing.
Yes.
Also Buju is saying the right thing. We just need to understand them from their point of view.
Yeah.
Buju kuongea mambo ya Afrobeats, like a lot of Kenyans, nimeona Kenya wengi wana discuss your story, wanasema but we have a lot of songs. Bro, Kenya tuko na wasanii wa conscious sana bro. Like Buju atajulia wapi kuna Kalamashaka? Kalamashaka are not Afrobeats. Buju atajuaje kuna Juliani are not Afrobeats. Buju atajuaje kuna Eric Wainaina is not Afrobeats. So Afrobeats ile mlami alichukua kaipeleka huku kwa pedal store ya the world so basically Afrobeats ni kama kapuka. Unakumbuka muziki ya Kenya ikianza kapuka this, kapuka that. Ndio watu wakatike.
I know.
That's Afrobeats for Africa.
Yeah.
So kuna ingoma imepigwa hype huku that na imekuwa forced to represent Africa. Burna Boy himself, people are talking about him. He does not associate with Afrobeats. Burna Boy is live on interview amekata mambo ya Afrobeats, amesema yeye imbagi hizo vitu watu wengine wanaimba. Burna Boy amejeka kwa level yake in a different pedestal where he samples Femi Kuti and everything. Yeye mwenyewe hataki kuwa tagged as an Afrobeat artist. So Buju was very right. Artists wote they're big now, they're wako huko wanacheza hizi stadiums zote. Like what's their content? Fine, they're singing all this music that is commercial. All of us have been doing it. I do it. Kuna commercial music. But as an artist, what's that one song that you've ever done to like inspire your people? Not even Africa, just kwa Nigeria wenzenyu. Nigeria inasafa. Hata ngoma moja bro. Wewe ndio uko huku all over, you're the biggest thing. Ushaimba hata ngoma moja. Buju asemi ngoma zako zote zikuwe revolutionary buda. Hatuwezi taka kusikia mambo ya shida saa yote. But bro, wewe ndio sasa uko kwa world. What are you telling the world? Sawa, they're dancing. They got people's ears. You got people's ears. What are you telling them? Let me piggyback to our small country, which is Kenya, which is East Africa. When we started, tulikuwa naimba personally Millions and Kimba, very controversial music. Same as Buju.
Yeah.
Sawa, lakini Buju alisema he had to change. He didn't change. He showed people who he was. And I resonated with that because watu niliza nini mbona ulichange style yako? And nili resonate na hiyo story because Buju aliongea the same thing musemaga kwa interviews. Siku change style yangu. I showed you who I was. What I started singing was me trying to get into the industry because people were not accepting us. Watu walikuwa hataki kusikiza muziki Islando. So we had to shock people. It was a strategy. So we did it. So after we did it, did we continue doing it? No. Now I have people's ears. Now can I speak? Can I naongea kama nonini mgenge true? This is me, right? So that's what he's saying. You're already there. Buddha, you have the biggest song in the world. What else are you telling people? That's all Buju said. And I love that. Hakuna malele
but he said Afrobeat is fuckery. That's the word he used.
No.
It's the sheng yao. Ni ile sheng tu yani ana. But usichukulie fuckery ni kama yani. Ni anasema tu pia ina need more.
But unaona hiyo ndo clip inachezwa sasa.
Ngoja kwanza Ali, ngoja kwanza. Wacha hapa pia tuseme tutumie nini. Hakusema Afrobeat is fuckery. Alisema
what are they singing?
What are you singing?
Fuckery.
What are you akauliza what are you singing? Like kama amesema Kenya mononi amesema aliuliza tu swali simple. Akasema what they are singing right now is fuckery. Alisema hakuna ngoma yoyote yenye mtu akusema ati Afrobeat is fuckery. Alisema wewe kama msanii uko mbele ya watu why is it that everything that you're producing is fuckery? Akasema yeye ngoma yetu bado ni the king's music kwa sababu bado iko na message. Ni ngoma bado ukisikia utakumbuka when you fell in love, because ukiangalia kama love song akiimba love song, it's a true love song ya ukweli. Aimbe si love song ya nyashi sijui nini whatever it is, right? Kuna zile it's just for example, kuna ngoma za msanii ukisikia zitakutouch usemenye ngoma imetoka ndani, imetoka kwa roho yangu. Kenya nasema ni as in it's simple as this. You have a right to sing an album, and that album can have all the hits you wanna hit, whatever you wanna hit. But at least in your art, where is that activism coming in? Where are you talking about? Like when uko na masikio za watu sahi, ukakumbuka akaquote artist wa gani kina Alpha Blondy, akaquote what's his name, ule wa South Africa, ule liuliwa kidiwa simu,
Lucky Dube.
Yeah.
Usundu, Salif Keita.
Ukiangalia kila Lucky Dube, ngoma zao zote hazikuanga shida. Kuna ngoma zao zingine zilikuanga ni happy, branda kula happy. Ngoma zao zingine zilikuanga ni stories of love, zingine ni shida. So that is the only thing alikuwa anauliza, and it actually does make a point. Wewe kama like wewe uko na hiyo stage yako, where is your activism in it? Like how are you using your stage to fight for people? Aseme sai shida za Africa si shida tunateswa, sijui tuna need slavery, independence ama nini zi. Kuna ni economical exploitation nini. And ato when Nani spoke, I think Fuzo DG spoke a counter video to Buju, and the thing that he said, he showed and exposed to Buju what Afrobeats is saying and doing. Na yeye mwenyewe akakubali akasema ukweli, if you compare the number of Afrobeats music that is fuckery compared to yenye ni consciousness, is very little that somebody will not even notice it. Out notice. So the point is just that as an artist, how are you using your platform for your activism? How are you using when the eyes of the world are on you? Like, and he said it, make the money. He said make the money, but at the end of the day, usijisahau na usisahau pale umetoka. Because kuna siku itafika utaulizwa, what did you ever do when you had that chance?
And the highlight of that, he also said he's going back to dancehall. Alisema the next song is anatoa dancehall, is conscious, yes.
His album.
But alisema the next thing is dancehall, a trash dancehall, and understand dancehall ni space ya watoi fulani. Ataenda but anawa challenge. Na amesema kama mnafeel pia wa Jamaica wafanyi kazi yao ni kutingisha matako. Pia nyi kama wa Afrika, call them out. Tuambie yo wa Jamaica, munachoma, mulikuwa watu wa conscious. Mbona siku hizi tu mnatingisha matako? He said
lakini hao pia siku hizi si wa conscious.
Wanachoma mbaya. Na wanasema you can call us out because as was Jamaicans was singing about Africa. Wanaimba mamziki za kuliberate Africa. Mbona sisi hatuwaambii pia vitu wa kufanya? Sisi tunangoja watu waambie.
And also I think to his point, to make us point, is when you listen to that interview, Buju says, you know, like, okay, he asks, what are you singing? You know, when you look at it, when Nelson Mandela was in prison, what was happening? There's a lot of music that was going out to
free Mandela.
To free Mandela.
Yeah.
Right? Right now, and you give an example, you know, right now, Kenya, kuna maandamano.
Yeah.
What song, what can you say has been out that can really point to their, you know, like to support the struggle, you know, either Ruto Lazima Ashuke or whatever, there's South Sudan, there's DRC Congo.
Ngoma kama za Giuliani, old Giuliani music is now coming back.
Yes.
From Andamano.
No, Sauti Sol. So those things are there, you know. Eric Wainaina, you know, when you listen, you know, like Nigeria, there's a lot of stuff going on, and I think there's a lot of stuff going on.
Hey, Nigeria,
but what song has gone out there is out there that you can pick off, that you can know, that you can say this one is pertaining to a struggle, either change, political change or accounting or whatever. Nonini hapa ameimba Kala kwa Face. What was the movement about?
It was about albinos. Yeah.
Even in any song, even most of his songs, somewhere in between, there's going to be a message. You know, like I think, I can't remember the song, but I know, you know, ameongea mambo ya watu wa COVID, sijui Kemza, wamekula nini, wamekula pesa.
Yep.
Get. So there's something, there has to be something. And Buju was saying, in as much as, yes, you want to do that, but where it is, all you're doing, all the fuckery that you're doing is just sex and whatever. But he himself, even with his career attitude, you know, there was an album out, he had a campaign, you know, wear a condom because there's a lot of AIDS that was happening, that was going on. People were just scared. You were just saying, strap on, mother suckers. Strap on.
But Sasa, I think we need to get a contrary opinion. I think DJ Omosh Fire.
Let's go.
I think DJ Omosh Fire might have a contrary opinion. Yeah. But unajua, one thing that I will say that has happened that maybe we're not critically thinking about is the industries that control what music you listen to. Zamani, you used to go to a record store, unapenda ngoma ya nonini, na Kenya watu walikuwa kipirate. Enyewe Kenya si kwa ba nonini, tukuna vile tulipirate mangoma zako. But typically here in the US, you'd go to a store, you'd buy a CD ya Sean Paul, ama CD ya Akon, you'd go to a store. But then when music moved online, algorithms started controlling what people are listening to. And here's the reality. You know, like, there's a lot of conscious music that you and I will never discover. Yeah. Not because it's not good music, but because the algorithms don't like them. Yeah. And that's a problem with this environment that we're in.
And the people, and I think we had this conversation earlier, and I'm going to say this, the people who have taken advantage of that to force the algorithm for you to whatever are the same people, the YouTube people.
Donasema, you know, like these algorithms, because these algorithms, they're all after profit, you know, like they know this song will rotate much, so it will always be on top of the rotation. That's a song that's gonna come up the top of the rotation. So there's a lot of artists out there
who don't even get the time.
Don't get the time. They're great artists. They're very good. At Okiwaske, you're like, damn. Bonus Ngoma. But it's because of those algorithms.
I want a contrary opinion.
No, what tumsikie Omosh Fire? He's been trying to get away, you know, like from this conversation. Repeat it faster.
Fire,
but we want to wake the fire here. Omosh might have a contrary opinion, but let's pay attention to his reasoning, and how he feels.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So you know, it's interesting about Buju and the side of the coin that you guys gave, or the way you looked at it, or the way you had the interview. For me, the way I took it as an artist who has been overtaken by events and overtaken by time, coming in to, you know, remove his whip and start whipping it. That's how I took it. So for me, I look at Buju and say, okay, all the stuff you've done before is great, but right now, that the conscious music that you're talking about, or that the consciousness, reggae music has also changed. It's not what it used to be. And then the people who are listening to that conscious music, they're not the now generation. That's not the music that they want to listen to. They want to listen to music which is happy, feel happy, you know, you're shaking, you're bomb, you're twerking, you're doing whatever you're doing, and whatever format that is, that's what they're going to take. So if Afrobeat is the one that's giving them this avenue, then that's the avenue that they're going to stick with. Now, expecting everybody who's coming out with a song to have a message, and yet somebody came into this industry to make money, and that thing to make money with is shaking your bomb, then guess what? Everybody's going to be shaking their bomb. But I'll go back to him and say, for him, if this is something that he said, okay, I as Buju, I'm an artist and I want to stick with this agenda, I want to be heading in this direction, then he needs to stick on that path. But coming out and calling guys out and saying, okay, you know what, I don't think that you guys are doing good, or what you're doing is bad, Afrobeat sucks, this and that, just because you've been in the industry, in the reggae industry, and just like you said, he doesn't know who the people from the other countries who are doing the conscious music, or like especially like in Kenya, guys like in Kalamashaka who've been doing stuff. What's his name? The guy,
Kitusua.
What's this guy from Coast?
Cannibal.
Kalamoto.
Yes.
Oh, Kalamoto Kiumbe.
KLN. And he just released an album anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, so we have tons of guys like that. Tons of guys like that in Kenya. Yes.
How many Kenyans know those people?
No, we have Kenyans who know those people. But this is not about Kenyans knowing people. We are talking about Buju and his criticism coming in. And to me, I'm just saying that he has been overtaken by events because of where the music he came in with is, and where it was left, and where it's headed. And the industry that's there, whether there's new people who are coming in or the old generation, they're the ones who need to bridge that gap and bring themselves back on track. Last hivyo, they'll be finding chaps in Jamaica at a hang
And
coolering Banabo.
But then almost hold on a minute.
When the journalist stop, I like you know why you're a journalist? Umechukua hiyo point ingine, like sio lazima tu agree hapa, sijui si wote tuseme Buju uko sawa, unapatia na point yako na iko sawa. No. But me hata si support Buju, mimi niko hapa hivi, right? Buju spoke about Afrobeats as an artist. Mi ongori nimeondokea. Me too, as according to Donidi, Buju was not talking to me. You know why? Because Afrobeats took this thing and they ran away with it. Specifically, wa Nigeria. Wa Nigeria walichukua kitu na wakakimbia nayo, and now ndio wanaonekana like they lead the Africa, right?
Correct.
Africa has a lot of diverse genres. That's why Buju might be ignorant. He might not know about these genres. See, we can't blame him. Ajui, yeye anajua Afrobeats because hiyo ndio hawa lami wamechukua na wakai-explode huku. Hiyo ndio muziki ya Africa. So mimi kama Nonini as a Kenyan, I choose to step back, niachie conversation iendelee because I'm not defined as Afrobeats. Always you can't take away from Kenya. Kenya has dope musicians. Kenya has musicians who are very conscious, has musicians who are very commercial. But Buju might not know that because what tumekuwa sold out here that is Africa is Afrobeats. Tuingie amapiano hapa South Africa. Come on, please tell me. Amapiano is feel good music, right? South Africa has some other music other than amapiano.
Yes,
does he even know that? Tuingie Canada, kina Salif Keita, kuna watu wengi. But Buju ajui because what's been sold out here ni Afrobeats. So mimi na choose to ref waves play on.
So mimi hapa point yangu kwa hii story ni why we assuming that Buju ajui instead of saying that Buju was just addressing Afrobeats in particular yenye amesikia.
Yes.
Right? Kwa sababu the thing is, if you go to Jamaica, the music you're gonna hear in Jamaica, a lot of music everywhere it goes is gonna be Afrobeats or Nigeria, right? And when somebody addresses Afrobeats, for me in my belief, if you tell me Afrobeats, sikwangi nimeka mapiano kwa Afrobeats, sikwangi nimeka Kenyan music kwa Afrobeats. Mimi kwangu Afrobeats ni ngoma za Nigeria, regardless of what anybody wants to say. If you wanna jump on that bandwagon useme ati ngoma za Kenya ni Afrobeats na kucheka because I don't think we're the same thing. Afrobeats ni yao na
very true.
So in this point of conversations, why don't we just have the conversation of him addressing to that one particular genre instead of trying to put the whole of Africa so that you can feel bad against what he's saying?
Thank you.
No, unajua,
I'm in agreement with me.
I think the problem hata kwa ile group ya nonini hizi group huo unaingia ukitoka kuna hii group ya mapromoter. I think kuna vile pia, and I'm not gonna say this in a bad way, there's a way in which also the Nigerian fraternity has kind of bullied the industry. Like in any like African event, this is the music that you have to play. If it's an African club nanini, there's kind of like a subtle bullying that has happened.
Exactly.
That even these DJs who are like who've been playing like different kinds of music, they have submitted.
They'll never play anything unless it's their stuff.
They have submitted, and they're like, oh, we only have to agree with what they're saying, when there's so many other genres that have not come out. And you see with what's happening in Africa, kumbuka Africa, it's the only continent that's growing in terms of population. Like the average age is very low. Uliona juzi, they said when South Sudan was playing the US in basketball in the Olympics, it's the youngest nation in the world. I think the average age there is like, is it 16 or is it 19? It's very low. That's the average age. Like in that country. So this is the only growing continent. So all industries, be it tech, be it mining, all industries are looking towards Africa, because in places like Italy, watu hawazai watoi. So like if you're a company, you're making a product and you're looking to sell a product, and you're looking this side, watu like they want to have a good time, hawataki kuza watoi. So now that's why they're all looking in Africa. Guess what other industry is looking in Africa? It's the music industry. That's the only place. It's kind of like a very raw, untapped. Your Afrobeat is a very small part of the diversity of African music. When you think about...
That's the conversation we should be having.
So now when you think about the other artists he mentioned, and that's why I say, you know, like when someone like Buju speaks, Buju is a poet. And poet, you know, like personally, I'm not a very good composer of poetry, but I'm a very good consumer of poetry.
Yeah.
And I hear poetry. When he speaks in poetry. Those artists he mentioned, they were very strategic.
Yeah.
You know, like they were not random.
Yeah.
Ali mentioned Fela Kuti, Salif Keita,
Yusundur, Baba Mal.
Yeah. Specific artists. When I think about an artist like Salif Keita nimesikia ngoma yake.
Nilishamletaka Kenya for Color Face campaign.
Oh damn. Yeah, I mean that guy, his first song I ever heard ilikuwa ikichezaga Utna.
Yeah.
Ilikuwa inaitwa way back in the day. Ilikuwa inaitwa Nu Pa Buje. So you know this song could not hear anything. Yeah. I did not understand a word of what he was saying, but I could feel there was a very powerful message that he was trying to give over here. Ndo polepole nikajaribu kwenda kulan na nini mpaka I got the translation. I was like, damn. He was telling the French people that we are not going to move out of France. Nupa Boucher, we are not going to move because mulifanya ma grandfather wetu wakwenda wapigane ma wars that we didn't know about. Na wakauliwa. Saa alafu mnatuambia tutoki. Saa ndo wanaambia si atutoki. Nupa Boucher. So and then akafanya collabo na some young French rappers. You know, now who are doing black rappers in France, who are doing now a French part, alafu ye anaongea iyo ni Kibambara. Baba Mal has done some collabos with Jamaican artists. That's another amazing artist. Yusundur. And I think what he was trying to say, Africa, you guys already, you are the cradle and you already have the right raw material. You want to start picking up from these guys. I think that's what subconsciously he was trying to tell people.
What I got him ni advice ya father. He's like a father. Alikuwa anasema ama artists wote ametaja ni ma old school artists who had the foundation of African music, right? It's like speaking about Bob Marley. Ama artists wote wa Jamaica wote they look up to Bob Marley. Angalia sasa YG mtoto wa Lauryn Hill anaimba nini?
Exactly.
Ana sound kama Bob. Na pia conscious angalia content yake, right? So Buju was saying mko na artists wenyu wa dope wa Africa. I feel like mmetu disappoint because you're not picking from what they did and translating it into your own style. Na feel ni kama mmejialienate.
You're picking up from everyone else.
Alafu mkaachana na hawa mavet. That's what I felt he was trying to portray.
Exactly.
I don't know.
No. I think I support your point, and I think his issue was there's so much locally, there's so much it's rich. Our culture again, Jok, Masai, like we culturally and whatever it is, we're so rich, but we look to the West just for affirmation. And I think that was his problem.
Kuja Mombasa, for example, man. Mimi nikikwambia wasanii, you know, wachana na wasanii wanajulikana, just people who are known locally, who wanajulikana amekuwa akiimba, you know, like beat, taarabu, or whatever genres that are being done in Mombasa. There is some very deep music. Unaona sometimes easy Kiswahili watu wanasikia kutoka Bongo. There are people who do it even in a much better way kutoka Mombasa, lakini sasa they don't get the algorithms don't pick up their music.
So is that gatekeeping? Is that gatekeeping? I mean, because I remember there's a time we had a show and there was a notion that like you said, coast. Kuna wasanii.
Yes.
But for you to break the market, you have to go to Nairobi.
You have to go to Nairobi.
You have to go to Nairobi.
Yes.
You have to go to Nairobi,
right?
unfortunate. And that's unfortunate.
Ask Otile.
Ndio inatokea kwa industry. The question me nikiwachia interview yote nikotaka when Nori aliongea akasema this conversation now will open up people to start doing more collaborations and everything. He hopes that can happen. But what I got is the question should be, why is Afrobeats the one defining Africa? It's just one genre. Why don't we have other genres from Africa getting up to that pedestal of the Afrobeats? Because Africa is rich in genres. So kwa nini? What is that person has made that Afrobeats? Hizi mziki tunasikia huku nje ndio. What's the problem? So that was number one. 2 is Now, since Afrobeats has been put up there, everybody in all these other African countries want to emulate. That's why Watanzania wanataka kuimba kama mapiano, because wanaona hii ndio kitu tunatupeleka kwa world, sawa.
Yeah.
Watu wanataka kuimba kama wa Nigeria.
Yeah.
Now you lose your own culture because you're trying to emulate something that you feel has put
That you
people
can't do,
on
yeah.
the, but it's wrong.
It's wrong.
We're losing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now unajua problem is that initially this music was growing organically. You see a genre that grew organically ni genres kama Lingala. That's a genre that grew, it grew internally. Na kina Fally wamekula na wamekula from Africa.
Kina Kofi.
Yeah. They've cooled, you know, like yes, they have big shows. They have big shows in Europe
Paris,
and
wapi.
But wow, wamekulia Africa. Yep. Africa is where their primary source of bread is.
Yeah. There are houses I go to visit my guys, my boys, you know, like all they're playing
strictly.
Yeah.
Ni Fally, those my guys. Your genre.
So me, I think Congo is a good template to try to figure out what exactly is it that they did that they made their music first of all so big within their own country. Tuacha hata kabla imefika Kenya, because Kenya hata imeenda mbali.
Yeah.
You know, because even Tanzania, the biggest music in Tanzania used to be Lingala before Bongo Flava ingie.
Yeah.
So I think hata Kenya. So we need to
Lingala ni Afrika mzima.
Yeah. So we need to learn from that template.
That is the only music ili break borders ikaenda Afrika mzima.
Ili break borders without outside influence. I'm not going to say there's been zero outside influence, but it was mostly grown organically. You know, our guitarist, you know, like the food chain grew organically, and then wakaanza kupata wasanii wengine. Wewe unasikia Kofi sijui alikuwa kwa band ya nani in the 70s.
One of them the thing is this, Congolese musicians understand the business of music, how to do, like when tukikuwa hivi si watano tu wamekuform band, si uko tushajipatia kila mtu kazi yake, kwa hiyo band itakuwa nini apart from aspect ya ngoma, alafu na kuna kwanga na clear path ya how ukijoini band vile at some point utakuja pia mwenyewe
vile utasosi
utoke. Yeah, so utapata mseka Fally alikuwa dancer. Na Fally alikuwa dancer, nani mwingine alikuwa dancer? Mwingine anaitwangaje? Fera alikuwa dancer, Gola alikuwa dancer. Haya, hata before ende hapo kina Werason. Ukako walikuwa madancer. Wako few wakatoka kaenda kafungwa Wenge. Alafu hapo kwa Wenge muzika pia wakaachana, Werason akaenda kivyake na Nia akaenda kivyake. Alikuwa anaitwaje mwingine? Jibe Mpiana akaenda kivyake. So basically, if you see at how even when those guys, remember most of these Congolese musicians wale wa rumba wa kitambo walikuwa wanarekodia ngoma Nairobi. Na walikuwa wanarekodia ngoma Nairobi. And the fact is, I think the smartest thing that they did is they used 3 languages in their songs: Lingala, French, and Kiswahili. So, and those 3 languages covered nearly the whole of Africa.
But then unaona the reason why, and Congo is not the only country that was able to grow its music internally. South Africa pia has had a functional industry for a minute. Yep. So Congo and South Africa, and then, you know, like with Nigeria have also had an industry, but while a lot of their growth, a big chunk of their growth now is coming now globally. Outside the country. That's why some of these Afrobeat artists, ata perform Nigeria, it's very rare for them to perform in Nigeria because they're constantly traveling to other different parts of the world. So I think that's what we need to figure out internally.
What's in conversation ya genres, right? Forget Africa. What also people missed about Buju's conversation with Nori, it wasn't just about Africa. Kuna mali Buju alisema, kuna mali kina Nori waliuliza Buju aliuliza, there's music that is chomolewad every other day, and then it lives only 2 months. After 2 months, you forget about that music.
Yes,
it's not about Africa.
Bubblegum.
Africa has that. US has that. Everywhere. All over the world kuna mangoma kama hizo. 2 months, hiyo ngoma ili hit. Alafu tukaisahau. Buju alisema nini? The music is not disposable. The artist is disposable. It's not the music. Angalia Pasteto. Hip hip hop ya leo na hip hop ya zamani, bro. Even the artists speak about it. It's different. Angalia watu hivi tu wanafanya. Angalia mamanzi huku hip hop siku hizi na kwa define na kutwak. Mkiangalia huku which is their culture sawa, but wale conscious hip hop artists wanasema man, this wasn't us. Busta juzi nimemwona akiperform. Akaambia watu yo, mimi nikiperform hii mambo mnashikilia masimu zi. Watu walikuwa na engage na show, wanaimba. Ekeleni hizo masimu down. Watu wakaekelea masimu chini. But akaambia that's how nataka energy.
I agree.
So it's forget even the genres. It's about the generations and things have changed.
But now you see that's the problem.
The music is not.
But now you see the problem. Unaona artists, you know, like at that time, and I think we're growing up with this hip hop music, so we took it for granted. But that music has lived on until today. When you think about an artist like Tupac, Tupac alikuwa na all kinds of music. Alikuwa na hizo feel happy music, gangster, love songs, na nini. But then his music, it has lived until today. Most of his music, it's timeless.
The same thing Buju was saying. Unaweza sikiza muziki ya Tupac, usikie ngoma when you ulikuwa kati ya dem, kuna ngoma kuna sikiza, kuna time kuna feel struggle. Tupac has that timeline of emotions with his music. It's the same thing, and that's not reggae. It's just being an artist. It's just being an artist, what you're supposed to do.
So I think the problem right now is because of the immediacy. So I think because as an artist pia unaangalia vile utakula na unajua
ni close your eyes, mnakumbuka shika time.
Unaona squeeze hakuna squeeze
shika you can music that can place you in a timeline.
Yes hiyo hakuna squeeze. Because you see right now I think artists anaangalia immediacy, they're not looking at 5 years or 10 years, and it's difficult with this environment that we live in where you can see artist mwingine ameka twerk music na ikapata 10 million views. So that affects even those ones who want to be conscious and those who want to be creative. Because uliona pia at some point kina Bien Sauti Sol pia wao walitoele ngoma ya kutoa mashati na nini. But I like the diversity that Sauti Sol has in that they were trying something different, something new, but then they consistently have content that is timeless. And I think that's a part that's now difficult to build without mentorship. The problem na leo is because of the ease of being able to record and produce and upload. The problem with that
produce and upload haraka share information
haraka. We kumbuka when you were getting started you had to go somewhere.
Your record ilikuwa domba,
your record ilikuwa lazima utoke kwa hao,
ilikuwa dingori.
But sasa unaona one thing that hiyo difficulty inaleta mentorship, because uko kule umeenda, si unaona kama hiyo nini hiyo mlango uko Kalif hapo kwa Clemo, sikulikuwa ganamse hapo kwa mlango
mopokolo mopokolo.
I know huwezi kuingia tu hivi, so kuna struggle hata kuingia. So by the time unaingia huko yani unajua men, and then huko ndani kuna mentors, unakutana na wasanii wengine, unakutana na nini. Now that when you're doing that from your basement, where you're just composing whatever you think
comes in your head,
will come in your head, you're doing it in your basement, and then uifanye, and then it gets views. So in your mind you're thinking I don't need mentors. I totally do not need any mentors. And that's the reason why unakuta kuna artists wanakuja wanavuma kama for 6 months and then wanapotea. Na wanapotea na tuone
tena. Hata ni a month, bro. A month and it's a wrap.
They disappear.
Disposable.
And you never see them again. Kumbuka Soulja Boy alikuja akavuma for a certain period of time and then he just disappeared.
But there's some other music that stays there. Kuna muziki zingine ziko tu mpaka leo. Tuingie kwa comments. Watu wanasemaje?
Sawa hapa kwa comments kuna ya Evans Marube. Evans says, what's the business of Caribbean Jamaica genre to African music? Afrobeats opened African music to the US and the world. Who talks of South African music amapiano? There's reggae roots and dancehall is dirty. Buju is an old timer. So Nonini quickly respond to that and then tuta move on kutoka hii topic.
He's an old timer who came out of jail after how many years?
Is it 7 years? Alikuwa
jail 7 years. And sell out New York, Madison Square Garden twice, 36,000 people.
Yep.
Without any new music. Sawa, let him be an old timer.
Nonini kuna kitu uniprovie unicorrect kani wrong. Hii watu hii story ya kusema Afrobeats opened up African to the world. Ni story ya Jaba. Ndio.
Ni story.
Kwa sababu
again, si story ya jaba because Afrobeats it's Nigerian driven. So wa Nigeria
No, it's
right? Wa Nigeria walipush content yao. Wa Nigeria wako wengi in UK na walianza kucheza muziki zao in UK, then it proved ikaingia Africa, ikaingia huku US. So they kept doing it, and it's okay. You cannot fault them for that because they were pushing their own thing.
No, it's not in that point.
Okay, my bad.
What I'm trying to say is that there's music that actually reached out to the world before Afrobeats.
Oh, definitely. Come on now.
Yeah, way before Afrobeats.
Because
watu wengi usema bila Afrobeats African music ingefika kwa US.
By the way,
unasema hii story ya jaba,
kuna
ndio kwa sababu
kwa movie bana.
By the way, Mika,
Hollywood and everywhere.
Unakumbuka huyu artist alikuwa na hii ngoma ilikuwa ikikam hizi majamadelic na nini, ilikuwa na kaskas, kulikuwa na kaskas. Hii ngoma ilikuwa inaitwa Angolo. You remember that song? Unajua msanii ni nani? Huo msanii anaitwa Angelique Kidjo. Do you know how many times she's been performing at the Kennedy Center?
Come on, man.
I think she has the most Grammys as an African artist.
She has what?
I think she has the most Grammys as an African artist.
What's her genre?
She's
Angola.
World music.
Thank you.
Yeah.
She's African,
so
but they have
what Afrobeats ndio imeka Africa kwa pedestal.
What country is she from again? Is she from Angola?
No, she's not from Angola.
No, she's not Angolan. She's
North Africa.
She's West African.
Ama ni Burkina Faso. Is it Burkina Faso?
Let me Google up.
I respect
them ka South Africa kana itwaje Tyler.
My point was
sorry.
Yeah.
My point was, even if we come to urban music right now, right?
Yeah.
Because I believe Afro House, Unz ilikuja, if we go to music, urban music right now, Unz crossed the borders earlier than Afrobeats.
Benin, Washeke anatuambia.
Unz zile ngoma za watu LSD.
Yeah.
Yeah, the same genre na kina Mwaki. Which we would say South African house music.
Oh, by the way, South Africans, when I used to hang out with South Africans, kitambo sana. Walikuwa na mabashi zao. Even sasa kulikuwa
na kwaito ile house music. Wazungu wanasikia mbaya.
Maze tulikuwa naenda, unakumbuka Seska Lounge? South Africans, a lot of South Africans used to come there. So I used to know a lot of South Africans walikuwa na house bash. Kwa hizo house bash, wanacheza hiyo house from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. Now ukijaribu kwenda kusuggest anything different, man, you can even be kicked out.
Yes.
Yeah. You can even be totally kicked out of that part. Those guys used to take that thing deep so seriously. And then unajua alikuwa analeta na hii story nyingine sasa walikuwa kileta au pair. South Africa is the only country that is allowed by the US to bring au pairs. These are people who come in to work as ni kama exchange program. Ni kama unakuja kuwa mboch, but you can go to college na nini. So it's mostly Europeans who participate in that program. So kuna time a lot of South Africans walikuwa wamekuja na hiyo nini. Walikuwa wamekuja na hiyo program. Tena South Africans wale kienyeji wale kutoka Ocha, wale kutoka kwa Zulu Natal. Yeah. Kule ndani kabisa. Wale members, wale neighbors wa kina Jacob Zuma huko ndani walikuwa nakuja, but very interesting people. I love them because they were unapologetically
South African,
unapologetically African.
Nilipenda Tyler juzi. I think she was on BT Awards and she won an award. But when she won it, the whole dome ilikuwa inasema Sexy Red. They were chanting because Sexy was in the same category. So everybody was chanting sexy. Then Tyler won it. Mimi mwenyewe nilishtuka Tyler aje. Even when she got on stage, I respected her because she accepted the award na akasema even though I've gotten this award, I'm humble, but I respect everybody who's come here before me. Because she understands they might not have gotten the opportunity to get that BT award, right? But there were other people who were also doing things before her. Hakukuja na ile kiburi. Watu kuja na kiburi, yani mimi ndio mwenyewe. And plus she read the room of the room. The room of the room walikuwa nawika Sexy Red. So unajua ni Katareste. Lakini nani ameshinda? Mwafrika. Lakini Mwafrika akachukua akasema pia na appreciate niko kwa hapa na appreciate kuna watu walikuja before me and they never had this opportunity. So this is for them. I respected that because they never got that opportunity. Industry will realize when you move, industry iko pushed by narratives. Sai narrative ni Tyler. Na industry kiamua ni Tyler, ni Tyler. It doesn't matter what remarkable music you have out there. As long as ni Tyler, watamsukuma forever. That's how it works. That's the music industry.
One interesting thing about South Africa, na South Africans, is that wajua country yao all African countries iko na shida zake. But one thing about South Africa is that their country is also very advanced in so many ways. So they don't necessarily look at the West, like Natama.
No.
Like other countries, like kama vile Nigerians.
Martis wanaishi fiti huko South, wako sawa.
Yes, so South
Sell
Africa.
Sell out stadiums, do all that shit.
Yes, and that's why unaona hata katika kwa movie zao, yani unakuta ni movie ya English, lakini 70% wanaongea Kihosa, lazima kuwa na masubtitle. But unafuata movie. Unafollow movie na movie
even programs.
Even series.
Even series.
How long have we been watching Indian movies?
Yes, series. Unaona kwanza hizo series kama kuna inaitwa Blood and Water. There is hiyo school mpaka mazee was like I want to become young and go to school in South Africa. Yani shule moja, and then tena wanaonyesha blacks in very like in very positive
and
rich places. Ile manyumba za Cape Town. Those houses zile ziko katikati ya mlima.
Za wadosi.
Mapank
nyoso.
That was really nice.
Unajua the funny thing about them is not the funny thing. The good thing about what I've liked about their movie industry, they don't glorify anybody else but themselves.
But themselves.
Like like utaipata sijui tu ameweka sijui starring sijui anafaa kwa mzungu ama sijui storyline zodi. Wow, how it's about us, it's for us, it's everything. Like for them, they don't try to mince and sell somebody else is better than them. For them, it's them and them.
Okay, sawa. Wacha to let's pivot a bit hapa because on a time muda hapa pia natupatia kisogo kidogo, kuna sports tunataka kuongea hapo baadaye kidogo. But nonini real quick. Mbona tukukuona maandamano hapa US? Tumekuwa na protest 3, tumekuwa na protest 2 Kenyan Embassy, tumekuwa na protest ingine IMF, lakini umekuwa missing in action. Kuna vile utaki kuonekana kwa kamera ama kuna vile kuna ka contract umesign
ma sponsors
ama kuna ma sponsors nini.
So I'm the most vocal artist kwa mambo ya maandamano.
Kweli kabisa.
From today, yani nataka ujue hivyo. You might not see me physically kwa maandamano pale DC, and I gave my reasons why I did not make it. But hii historia Gen Z nimekuwa na support from the word go, because to me it's personal. It even started before waanze kudemonstrate. It started with me demonstrating that visit of the president akuja kapeleka watu huko Chicago, sijui kwenda kuona Tyler Perry. Hiyo nilikata kwenda
Atlanta. Hatukukuona huko kwanza.
Protest yangu ilianzia hapo. So that was even before the maandamanos. And I hope you guys have that new song, man. I want us to debut it, man, because today is going to be it's going to play for the first time ever here. Yani hii ngoma hata iko ready.
In global exclusive.
Ready because right now the video is being edited as we speak, and it's being edited. I have journalists kina offended. Kina John Alan Namu and all those people are working with me, and are very instrumental people in the Gen Z movement who are working with me to bring this project out. But today I'll give you guys the honor to play that song. Just cue it.
YouTube itaikubali? That's a question.
What?
YouTube, unajua YouTube wana
if it's not
kama ipendi ngoma
haina shida hiyo, tutadili nayo ngori, tutadili nayo. But I've been very vocal. Mimi nilianza kuprotest from then. Niliinvite hiyo kitu nikasema you know why? Because I saw how the country is going. I saw how our leaders are treating our Kenyans. Nikasema I will not be associated with that. Although vile uliongea, you started here saying I was a supporter of Ruto. Yes, I was a supporter of Ruto. I was a supporter of Sakaja. Vibaya sana.
But wacha tupose hapo kidogo. Wacha tupose hapo kidogo because ino kitu moja mi wanajaribu kuelewa na wasanii, because like there was that very shameful image of wasanii mpaka wakambeba Ruto na wheelbarrow na nini. It was a very embarrassing image. I mean, of course at the time like atungeza kuongea
because he was VP at that point.
He was a VP
he was touchable.
No, he was VP, but then like what I didn't quite understand is why wasanii, because I was trying to see what exactly is it that wasanii took to him, and what is it that they believed that this guy is gonna do for us that the previous governments were not able to do for us. Because that image right there, that image right there, that was very very ilikuwa aibu sana hiyo hapo.
So kuna paid endorsements and then kuna endorsements that happened. Like kama yangu it just happened. Miliamu yani nitasupport hii side. Why? Because I had my own reasons. Because niliona hii side ingine
Yeah.
It's they were egoistic. They already in their minds, they had already won that election, and they were moving around feeling like we are the people. So mi napendaga ma-underdog. Hata nikiwatch Arsenal sijui akicheza na nani, ama nikiwatch any fight, ule jamaa anakuwaga underdog, huo ndio mumpenda. So at that particular point, he looked like the underdog. He looked like the person, yani ilikuwa tu inakaa tu hata kwa system. So mainly support because of that. Do I know his background is if I know his background is, but hawa watu wengine pia si wameleta ujinga, and say it's proven. Even Gen Z wanaona ule mtu mko mnataka kusupport over and above Ruto, sasa amefanya nini Gen Z? Exactly, Gen Z can see his moves, right? So that's why I support. Yangu ilikuwa genuine, yangu ilikuwa nimelipwa, ilikuwa sawa. Nda support ujamaa, nda support Sakaja, because I've sat down with him and I've spoken with him. He was in the Senate committee before he became a governor, akiongea mambo ya music industry. He summoned our MCSK, Priska, Mafala wote. He summoned them in the Senate committee. Na mpaka leo mwaga, I hold him accountable. Namuuliza, bro, hii summon yote ulifanya ukiwa Senate, sasa wewe ni governor, unatusaidiaje? Crickets. Right?
Now
and that's where my support
as a former artist.
Sabu support yangu ilikuwa genuine because nikijua wewe buda, wewe ni mtu tunamezea ali. Ukifika mahali fulani utakumbuka kuna wasanii.
Yeah.
Usipo kutukumbuka na achana nawe. Same as our president. He knows exactly what we are dealing with, and that's why I supported him. Kama utu support, nilipiga about time because I have a choice as a Kenyan. I have a choice. Hakuna mtu anaweza kuambia ati wewe ufai kuongea mambo ya politics because you're famous, bro. Policies control our business.
Absolutely.
If policies are wrong, our business will not thrive.
Yeah.
Even right now, I'm not seeing so many musicians talking. Bro, unaona watu wameuliwa. Watu ni mafans wetu. Hawa Gen Z mnaongea juu yake. Ndo wanatusikiza. Gen Z wanapigwa sniper. Sniper anapiga mtu kichwa pale, I mean, bro. Every artist should be offended. Every creative, every musician, every Kenyan should be offended. Aufai kukaa on the fence aje. Unaka fence aje. Hawa watu wamemadwa bana.
But unaona kuna problem katika hizo magroup nyingi za wasanii. There's always that talk
atia
tusiongee nini hapa, tusiongee siasa hapa, because hiyo kitu naona iko common sana. But then when elections zinakuja, there you go, when elections zinakuja wanakuja wanakuwa paraded hapo. Na unajua one thing that I think especially some younger artists hawaelewi about politicians, because mimi wanasiasa na wajua, they like using artists because artist akona following, artist akona following. Unaona saa kama huyo atupangwingwi, you know, like akona following. So vitu kwenye ataenda, kuna watu, kuna my young tax ambao watafollow. Politicians know that. And I don't know whether these artists understand that they are being used, ama ni vipi wanaweza kujipanga, not necessarily to support this side or this side, but just have, because there are those common things that all artists want to happen.
Unaona America, ma-artists wanajua value yao. As much as Megan Thee Stallion, so demo agamestanduka akipiga twerking, ulimwona yuko kwa campaign moja ya Kamala. Because what?
Yeah, I know.
She attracts a crowd.
Yes, she does.
She knows her value. Forget what she sings. Stallion akiwa pale Dingori, kuna venye Kamala ata-align na hiyo crowd ya Stallion.
Yes.
Because they understand that. Me, I hope artists can understand that as well.
Bernie Sanders alienda kuongea na anaitwaje huyu Dominican wa New York. Mbona namsahau? There's this is she Dominican ama she's mbona jina nanipita, a popular artist from New York, some black Latino artist. Jina yake na nini inani Cardi B, yes. Cardi B nani
washake say Cardi B.
Yes, Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders alienda kumu-interview.
Washake yuko rada
mbaya sana. So they understand their value, and I honestly feel like you know, like there needs to be that political schooling on some artists, because what I normally see during elections is very ugly, because the reason why politicians, I think, have decided whatever artists want is not a priority is because wame realize watu tunaweza kuwatumia time ya kura, na kura ikishaisha
I understand value yenyu,
so
they're going to take advantage of that.
But one thing I can respect about Nons is you know he's always been a lone wolf in certain aspects. A maverick in the like in the music industry. kwanza fighting for royalties,
yeah,
putting people to task, having beef with, you know, a certain guy he would call out.
Swing, akona templates zote za swing.
Well, like, yo, ebu
leta noma, unatumiwa barua.
Twitter ati nonini amesema acha nijichunge kabla niambiwe amanani that by Monday.
By Monday.
Una get?
Yeah.
So he has been a maverick for that. Yeah. Then also he has been one who has not shied away from, you know, he had his choice. His choice is messed up. Has he held back on calling them out? No. He calls them out. The problem is that most of the guys in the music industry, most of the guys who when I think of somebody calling out people or making a stand, I think of Nonini. I can't say the same of, you know, I'm not gonna call out names, but maybe I can, because I'm like, you know, I would like to hear people like Akina Nameless.
Especially with what has happened. Wachana na anything else.
It took Nameless about a week, however long it took for him to even say something about maandamano. It took him a while. Baka kakuja, you know, whatever. We saw him over there, out there, ngangana him and his wife. Okay, fine. You know, Butita said one thing.
Hey, Butita chana story.
Butita then did another, then whatever.
Yeah.
Uyu MC. Mkamba.
MC Tricky.
Chipukizi, yeah. Umse ulimwa every day now. Every day, because of, you know, of course he's part of Zakayo's government or whatever, but he was very quiet. So every time he says something at yours, we change, we what, even if he's trying to make to make a point of trying to make a change, analimwa. King Kaka. Hata ilikuwa analimwa because alionekana na ule msee wa nini. Jalango.
The problem is when you touch a politician, and this is what artists need to understand. When you touch a politician, na amekulipa, they own you. You become a slave. You become a slave and you have to follow your master.
But ukiwa mtu mgenuine, Ali, you cannot allow a politician to touch you. Genuine. Kama wewe ni mtu genuine.
Yeah.
Like, I avoided that Atlanta shamble because I knew what's happening. God forbid ningeonekana Atlanta, bro. Hata saizi kuongea.
Yeah,
ningeonambia watu nini. Wewe ulionekana Atlanta huko. And then what came out of Atlanta? In that creative group I was telling you, guys were asking me, yo, Nons, mono kwenda Atlanta. I was like, kwenda kudu? Ndio nipate hizo promises. And then what happens?
Upate picha na
ati sisi tuko nataka opportunity. Si mungeenda. And then after that, what has happened? Steve Harvey alisema nini? Did you even hear what Steve Harvey said? First of all, our to ATL, they never even respected our president. Jamaa alikuwa kwa hiyo building, lakini alituma nani? Alituma Steve Harvey. Yuko busy.
Alituma Steve Harvey na Shaq.
President wa country amekamkukucheki.
By the way,
yuko busy. Alafu mtu ulituma, unasikia vile alisema? This is my brother. So the next time I'm going to visit my brother in Kenya, while I'm going to shoot my show yake inaitwaje?
Family Feud
in South Africa.
Yeah.
I'll pass by Kenya. What? You will pass by Kenya to say hi to your brother.
Atapitia.
Ukienda kushoot video. Ukienda kushoot your Family Feud, ilete Kenya because it will create employment. Already we shall meet. That was disrespect of the highest order. And that's why I did not condone that.
You know, like, and I mentioned that thing. Yo kitu, I had predicted that Tyler Perry will not be there.
Atafanyaje hivyo? But of course asha Google mtu wetu.
Asha Google na yeye mwenyewe pia because yako na brand yake pia na protect.
Hey.
And right now with what has happened, wherever he is, anasema thank God I never went to meet this guy because ndo mtu saa ameua watu wangapi, ameua more than 60 kids na watu na abducted. So I think yeye alikuwa na mapublicist wake wakamwambia, you know what, hii kitu achana nayo. Tuma mtu mwingine. Tuma Steve Harvey, mtume Shaq. And I don't even know what Shaq was doing there. Yeah. But even Shaq was there. I'm like, he's not even in the movie industry. I mean, he's done a couple of
entertainment. There's basketball. Remember, there's basketball.
Yeah.
Baba alikuwa ameenda kutembelea Steve Harvey akamwambia, let's go meet some Africans. Ile
ati kuna form.
Ile walikuwa wameenda raundi mahali alafu kajikuta umeingizwa kwa raundi nyingine huko, unajua ni nini.
I know. Alafu saa unajua a president, and this is where Africa or President Ruto sold us cheap. You have been invited for a state invitation. That's something that's very rare.
Yeah.
By the way, Yokitu, like if anyone wants to meet you on that trip, unaona kama Taylor Perry angetuma Ababu na Mwamba. Or angetuma you send someone.
When you're
president, you're freaking president.
Bana.
You cannot go there. You exactly na tumekutana.
And then somebody stands you up. What? That says a lot about you.
That was very embarrassing.
Anyway, let's move away from that.